Okay, so today we will be talking about Spark streaming. But before we start Spark streaming, let's talk about streaming, right? So for last 20-25 lectures, what we are talking about that, okay, we have some file, we need to process it, we need to transform it, and then we need to store the result somewhere, right? But we know one thing that, let's say this is the file with some lines. Let's say we want to word count number of words in this file. What we are doing, we are reading this file, we are then mapping flat map, right? Flat map, then map, key value pair creation, and then we are counting reduce by key, and then we are storing it or printing it, right? This is what we were doing. But let's say, and what this kind of application is called, this is called batch application. Batch application. Why batch application? Because the whole data comes as a batch, right? The Spark or any application which is processing the data knows upfront that, guys, this is the data which I need to process, that's all, right? So if I say that count the number of words in this file, it will just count the number of words in this file. It doesn't worry about it whether their new file is there or some other files are there in the universe, right? So in batch application, we do not need to worry about anything outside that file or anything outside that batch, right? So when we were talking in terms of the batch application or batch processing in Spark, so what we did, we created the RDTs. So batch processing we have done in 2-3 ways, right? We have done RDT, right? We have done using Spark structured API. So this is how we did batch processing. In RDTs, we have gone for low level code like map, flat map, and reduce by key, group by key, lot of operation. And in structured API, we created data frames. And then we performed some other operations like group by or aggregation or some other transformations, right? A lot of other transformations which are related to the structured API. Now, let's say if we have data coming in regularly, right? Or data coming in streaming format, right? Streaming format. So streaming what? That data is flowing in regularly. It's a continuous flow of data. Continuous flow of data, right? So continuous flow of data means there is some application which is producing some data, and that is coming in a continuous flow of events, right? So streaming will have some events into it, right? Events are nothing but messages, right? So we can say streaming means if the messages or the events are coming regularly in a continuous flow, then we'll call it streaming, right? Now, what streaming means, right now, if I'm talking to you guys, right, and obviously I'm talking in English, and if I ask you guys that, okay, now from this point onward, that is 6:22 p.m. onwards, just give me the number of each word what I'm speaking, right? Then you will say, okay, what you will do, let's say there are 10 participants into this meeting. They will say, okay, I will count from 6:22 till 6:25. Then other participant will say, I'll count from here to here, here to here, here to here. So what we are doing, although what I'm trying to prove you here, although we are talking about continuous flow of data, we cannot perform aggregation on the continuous form of data. We need to divide the data. Still, we need to divide the data into some buckets or into some windows or into some logical structure, right? So let's say if I'm speaking like this, let's say what I say, I'm speaking like this. right? And I say right here. So what do you see here? Let's say if I'm speaking at 100 words per second, 100 words per minute, words per minute. In 1 minute, we have 60 seconds, right? So now what we can do at minimum, we can say that, okay, Nilendra speak one, or let's say to make it simple, 60 words per second. So what we can say here that Nilendra speak 1 word per second. So if we want to count the number of words, let's count it every second to make this thing more simpler. So what do you say? This is one window, or this is one event, this is another event, this is another event, this is another event, and this is another event, right? And now this, obviously, we can consider these events, and when we want to send these events to some processing framework, let's say in Spark, for Spark, they will act as on the very high level. In reality, they won't. Let's say they will act as one file or one partition, right? Now, the whole complexity is gone. Now, everything behind the scene will become batch processing. So what we did, we read the stream, we divided the streams into small blocks, right? And then we gave these blocks into Spark, and then obviously for Spark, everything is behind this in RDD. So the whole complexity of reading the streaming data is gone. But the question arises, who will do this distribution? Who will do this distribution? Who will divide the data, right? And what we call that divided data, right? So now, in a streaming application, there are two things. Right? So one is called producer. The second is called consumer, right? When we talk about producer is some application which and who is producing data for you or the events for you, right? For example, let's say if I want to analyze the tweets on the Twitter, so there's application called Twitter, right? In Twitter, there are different tweets. In tweets, we have hashtags, right? And hashtags, let's say Hadoop. And these hashtags are coming on real-time basis because obviously Twitter is used by a million or billions of users throughout the world. Let's say, I'm not sure about what the current user base of Twitter. Let's consider it 100 million. 100 million over all the world in different time zones. So let's say if I ask you to count number of times Hadoop word coming in tweet, right? So since there are 100 million users, out of these 100 million users, maybe 20 million are tweeting with Hadoop, then obviously this is what we can say, this is real-time data or streaming data. So in this case, Twitter application will be act as our producer, right? This is one example. The second example can be your application logs. So application logs means what? Any application, when it is running, it produces a log behind the scene. That log will be stored onto some server. Let's say your application is hosted on some server, and the server is, let's say, WebLogic server, right? It's the name of IBM WebLogic, so it's a product of the IBM. So on this server, whenever, let's say this is banking application. Let's say this is banking application. Let's say Bank of America mobile application. So what you are doing, whenever you are logging in, when you are checking your balance, whenever you are making the payment, whenever you are transferring the money, when you are paying your bills, there will be entry into the logs, right? And we know that people use banking applications throughout 24 hours. So what we can say, these application logs of these banking application, again, a producer application for real-time streaming. So there can be a number of examples. In very simple terms, any application which is producing data on real-time basis we call it producer, right? So this is what producer is. Now let's say what consumer is. So obviously we know that producer is producing the data and we need to analyze that data, right? We need to analyze the data. In case of Twitter, we asked to calculate the number of times hashtag Hadoop occurred, right? So now to count that application or to count that number, what we need? We need some consumer who will consume the data and will analyze that, right? And consuming means what? Ingesting it. Ingesting into file system, memory, wherever, and then processing it. So into your Twitter case, we need to count hashtag Hadoop occurred in last 1 minute 6,000 times. In case of your banking application, logging, the people logged in into banking application 5,000 times, right? So this is how you need to process the data to get the value or insights out of from the streaming data. So now, producer can be anything, but now let's talk about consumer. So consumer in this case can be your Spark. So when we talk about Spark, right? So when I was teaching you Spark here, what we know that Spark looks like this. So Spark ecosystem looks like this, right? So in between, we have Spark core, then we have some resource manager, but on the top, we have few things. What are those few things? What are the APIs of Spark? So there is a Spark SQL, which we covered in a lot of detail. Now there is one more API for the structured streaming data processing or streaming data processing, that's called Spark Streaming. But what I need to, why I brought you guys here, that behind the scene, everything is going for Spark core. Behind the scene, everything is going for Spark core. Spark core means RDDs. So whether it's Spark Streaming, whether it's Spark SQL, GraphX, MLlib, these are two different APIs. I won't be covering them now, but everything behind the scene will be your RDD, okay? So let's jump to Spark Streaming again. So now, we know that consumer into our case is Spark Streaming. Behind the scene, Spark Streaming will be processing data as RDD because obviously everything is going to Spark core, okay? So till now, everything is clear that, okay, there are two things, producer and consumer. Producer will produce the real-time messages, consumer will consume the real-time messages and process them, right? And one of the consumer is Spark Streaming. Spark Streaming basic unit of processing is RDD, and RDD is nothing but resilient distributed datasets. We all know this stuff, okay? Now let's jump into Spark Streaming. So now, when we come for Spark Streaming, so we know again two things, that we need some producers, and then we need somewhere where this process data of these producers can be stored. So what are different producers? I covered the example of Twitter, but there can be other type of producers like Kafka, Flume, Kinesis. I will be covering a lot of them. But what I'm planning to show you here, that they will throw their data into Spark Streaming. Spark Streaming will process them and store them into some sink. So this is we call sink, right? So this is producer, this is consumer, and this is sink. So I'll write it here: producer, consumer, and then sink. Sink means wherever you want to store the data. Okay. Till now, things are clear, right? Again, I'm focusing on one more thing, that Spark Streaming behind the scene uses RDD. And to use the RDD is made out of what? RDD is made out of partitions. P1, P2, P3, they will mix together to create a RDD, right? We know this thing. So in the, what I'm trying to prove here, that this producers data, these producer data will be somehow needs to be converted to small partitions so that they can be act as RDD, right? So now the question arises, how they are converted into partitions, and are they really called partitions or they call something else? Okay, so let's go here. So now, what Spark streaming do for you? So this is your input data stream. It means here is your producer. The producer is producing some data stream. Stream means continuous flow of data. That flow of data is going through Spark streaming, and what Spark streaming is doing for you, converting that data, converting that streaming data into small batches, right? And those small batches are then flows through Spark engine, and then this Spark engine is processing them, right? So this is called processing, and here we are called ingesting. Like we are ingesting them here, we are converting them into small batches, and then Spark engine is processing them using RDD processing by converting them into RDD or something like this, right? Converting them RDD or something. And then obviously this batch of processed data can be stored to HDFS or S3 or somewhere else, or even can be shown to cluster, not cluster, console. Okay. Now things are very clear. We went one more step ahead. That okay, Spark streaming divides the streaming data into small batches. Now we have come till here, and then these small batches have been passed to Spark engine, and then Spark engine process them using RDD, right? So we get one more step ahead. So now let's see what these small batches are, and now let's give them a name. Okay. So when we go here, in fact, let's go one more step ahead. Yeah. So what these small batches called, they are called discrete stream processing, right? And we call them, so this is live data processing. It goes to Spark streaming, and then we call D streams from here. In simple terms, we made D streams. So these small batches, we call them D streams. Okay. And one more thing which is written here, that run a streaming computation as a very small deterministic batch jobs. So this is the most important point. Behind the scene, we are still running batch jobs, but these batch are very small size files, or small size RDDs, or small size D streams. Okay. So we are still going for batch processing, but these batches are very small as 1 second, and can go till any, like in hours, right? But they can start from in seconds or milliseconds maybe. Okay, so Spark treats each batch data as RDD and process them using RDD operation. Finally, the process result of RDD operations are written in batches. Okay, so till now we're good, right? And we call these small batches as D streams. Okay, so one thing is very clear now, that when we go for Spark streaming, we create D streams out of input streaming data, and then we call these then we pass these D streams into Spark, and then we give output RDDs, like small RDDs, right? This is what is going on. Okay. One more important thing. And so the question arises, how to create these D streams? How to create these D streams, and who's creating it, right? So when we talk about Spark, so we have one driver here, right? And then we have multiple executor, E1, E2, E3. In between, we have some resource manager, right? And then here you are submitting your application. It goes to driver, it got converted, it transferred here, right? In executor. In case of Spark streaming, what this driver is doing for you guys, that it is creating an abstraction called receiver on one of the executor, right? So what this receiver is doing, this receiver receives the input stream, this receiver receives the input stream, and based on some condition, the condition can be, let's say, create one batch in 1 second, create one batch in 5 seconds, whatever condition we gave to the program, right? That program is, let's say, that batch is called blocks. Okay, so what I'm telling you here, that this receiver will receive input stream based on the input what we gave to the program using this particular thing, that is Spark streaming block interval. Let's say block interval is 5 seconds. Then out of this input stream, give me one block. Every 5 seconds, give me one block, give me one block, give me one block. And these blocks, we will call them as these streams, okay? And then we'll pass these blocks to Spark as RDD. Makes sense, right? So again, in Spark streaming, we have something called receiver, which will receive the input data stream. And based on some threshold condition, it will create RDDs out of it, okay? This is good. Now, what are receivers, to be honest? Receivers are a special object in Spark streaming, whose goal is to consume data from data sources, move it to Spark. Receivers are created by streaming context. I'll cover what streaming context is, as long running tasks on different executors. So what they are saying, that receivers are nothing but long running tasks on executor, and they will be created for you by streaming context. Like streaming context is nothing but an entry point to the streaming application or Spark streaming, right? They are scheduled to run on round robin fashion. Each receiver takes one core. We do not need to go there, but how does it work? Receiver create data blocks during the duration of block interval. So this block interval is nothing. You will define that, okay, I need to create block, let's say block interval is 5 seconds. So I need to create blocks every 5 seconds. I need to create these streams every 5 seconds. This duration configured through Spark streaming block interval define how often data received by the receiver jumped to blocks. These blocks are stored into executor memory and sometimes also in write ahead log to improve the fault tolerance. After executor notifies the driver about the stored data, the notification leads to trigger the data transformation each batch interval. This is important, and let me explain it to you. So we know that here we have receiver. Inside receiver, we have input data streaming coming, and what receiver is doing based on your block duration or block interval. So let's say our block interval is 5 seconds. So what it will do, it will store the data or the events which are coming for 5 seconds here. Once the 5 second happen, what it will say, it will send a message to the driver, say, driver, I have enough memory, sorry, enough data into my memory. Can I trigger the transformation? Then driver will say, okay, trigger the transformation, and driver will tell, okay, this is the DAG, because we are talking about RDD here, right? Behind the scene, everything's RDD. So say, okay, here is the DAG, just do this transformation and save the result here. This is how it works, okay? So receivers are important. Now, let's go from the top now. So what are the different use cases? Twitter is one of the use cases. Twitter needs to crunch few billion tweets to publish trending topics, right? And Twitter literally uses Spark streaming. Credit card companies need to crunch millions of transactions to identify fraud. That's one of the applications. Mobile application like WhatsApp needs to constantly crunch logs for the service availability and performance, right? And even these, the meeting in which I'm talking to you guys needs to crunch a lot of logs just to see whether their online application, online meeting application is working fine or not, right? So there's so many use cases. These are just few of them. Spark streaming, we know. Okay, now what is going on behind the scene? So we have a D stream, right? We have a D stream. D stream means D stream means a small block of real-time data, and these D streams are based on some interval. So we know this thing. So what is going on behind the scene when we talk about structured processing or structured streaming? To be honest, what is going on that a table is created behind the scene, and every D stream has been added to this unbounded table, and then we are processing the table, right? So here there are RDDs and again, it is not going in this way, but we convert the RDD into data frame. So data frame is nothing but a table, and we are appending data to this data frame on a very high level, something like this, okay? So now what are D streams? So D streams are decriticize, I don't want to, discretized stream, okay? Discretized streams. In simple, D streams. Each batch of data is converted into small discrete batches. Batch size can be from 1 second to multiple minutes, right? So D stream means the data will be divided into small blocks or small batches, and each batch we'll call it D stream, and the D stream, the batch size can be from 1 second to like multiple minutes, right? D streams can be constructed from what? I have covered. These streams can be converted from the data which is generated from from the producer, right? What can be our producer? Producers can be Kafka, can be some HDFS, can be some sockets. I will explain socket in a lot of detail because that's what I'm going to be covering for you guys. And you can even create your custom receivers. Okay. Now, what socket is? Socket has nothing to do with Spark. It's a very, very general networking term. So socket means, and why I'm covering this, because obviously I will be using socket to act like producer. That's why I'm explaining socket here. So socket means a host, right? A host and a port. So basically, when we talk about a machine, right? A machine has an IP address, that's called host. And when we access any port of that machine, so we have this machine, right? In this machine, we have n number of ports which are made for different communication protocols. So let's say if we are using some port on this is your host. If we are using port on this machine, then this will call a socket, this will call another socket, this will call another socket. So socket is nothing but the combination of host and port. And the socket is used to communicate with the machine, right? We will be using socket to act as producer first. I'll explain it to you. Act as producer. Okay. So now, since we're gonna be using socket to act as producer, so we will be calling this producer at socket stream, right? And now what is socket stream? Now before that I go to socket stream. Why I'm using socket to produce data? Because that's the most easy thing. Because I can connect to Twitter, I can write my own program to generate some dummy data, I can connect to some other banking application, but obviously the most easy way to produce data is using socket streaming, and I'll explain it to you, right? So socket ability to, what socket stream is, it says that socket stream has ability to listen to any socket on remote machines, need to configure host and port, both row and text representation of the socket available, built-in retry mechanism. Let me explain it now. So what I did here, I have a Unix machine. Okay, and okay, so what I'll do here, I will connect to this lab, and let's go here and let me copy one password. Okay, before that I need to tell you one thing. The socket, okay, I have connected to one lab, right? And now what I need to tell you guys, that the socket, the application what I'm using here to create socket on this machine, on this particular machine, can only work on Unix system, right? So either you can work on your Cloudera Quick VM, or if you have Mac OS, then obviously it's Linux based system, so you can use there. Since I'm using Windows, I want to use some online lab. Okay. Now there is one application called Netcat. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm using Netcat, and on this local host, on this particular port, let's say my port is 6578. I can use any port, and this is good. So what? See, now this is open, right? So when I'm writing now, so anything I'm writing here, it is going through the local host on this particular port. So what is going on? Let me explain in detail now. So if I copy paste this thing here, so this will act as my producer. So if I'm writing anything on this console now, so this particular messages will be my events which are generated from this particular socket producer. And if I have some consumer, into our case, since we are covering Spark streaming, if I point my Spark streaming here, then it should be able to read this data, because Spark streaming can read data from any producer, right? Into our case, we are working with socket streaming. Socket streaming is nothing but a combination of host and port, and Spark streaming has the capability to listen to any host and port, okay, using socket streaming or socket streaming text. I'll show you. Okay, I have already covered it in detail. So every D stream will be represented as RDD behind the scene. These RDDs are replicated into cluster, fault tolerance. I don't want to go there because RDDs obviously are resilient distributed data sets, so they are fault tolerant. Every D stream operation result into RDD transformation, nothing very fancy. So this is your input stream, which is produced from your producer. It is producing input stream. This input stream is going to your Spark streaming. Spark streaming is producing your D streams, right? These D streams are converted into RDDs. Now everything is a clear picture for you guys. So here will be your Spark, and now since we have covered a lot of detail on RDD, any transformation on RDD will produce a new RDD. RDDs are fault tolerant because they are distributed across executors or data nodes, and then what we can say, RDDs will create a DAG behind the scene. Like all the things what we have learned in RDD will be applicable here now. Okay, and can combine streaming and batch processing. Nothing very fancy here again. So what we are saying here, that when we talk about these streams, they are related to streaming. When we talk about RDDs, we are talking about batch processing. And since these streams are converted to RDDs, so we can combine batch processing and streaming. This is what the thing is. Okay. So what exactly going on when we hit the play button of this Spark application, Spark streaming application, right? So obviously, as you were writing your Spark application, you will be writing your Spark streaming application. I will cover in detail, don't worry. So what it will do, into your Spark, what you are creating, not you, Spark was creating a DAG for you, directed acyclic graph. Here you will be creating D stream graph. D stream graph is nothing but the real-time directed acyclic graph, kind of. Think in very high level term, right? And then this DAG, D stream graph, will be converted to RDDs at every interval or block interval, right? And then again, nothing very fancy here. This DAG will be converted to stages will be converted to task will be going to executors, executor will do the task and store it somewhere. So the only important thing which you need to notify here is this thing. So every streaming application will, when it goes to driver, it will be converted to D stream graph. Okay, so this is the functionality of Spark streaming. So these, in fact, let me delete this again. So these two parts are the functionality or the functions of Spark Streaming, and rest everything is your Spark, because rest everything is RDD, right? Now, I have covered it that these streams were nothing but your batches. The batch size can be anything as low as 1 second, and there will be obviously one more important thing is whenever we are processing some application, right? Whenever we are processing some streaming data, there will be latency. There will be latency. The latency can be as minimum as 1 millisecond or maybe less, but there will be latency. Why? Because converting them into these streams, converting them to RDDs, processing them, ingesting them, lot of things, it will be leading to latency, right? Okay, now I will be writing a program for you, but let's go here. So what we are saying here, that let's say if we want to perform, if we want to count number of hashtags from the Twitter application, right? Then how Twitter application work? That we tweet something like this: Hadoop, hashtag Hadoop is best, right? And then we will write a tweet here. Then we will say hashtag Spark is fast, something like this, right? And somebody is saying US elections, something like this, right? So many tweets. So what we want to know, that we want to count each of these tweets, and we need to know what is the trending tweet. Trending means which tweet people are tweeting a lot, right? So we know this is your streaming real-time data, right? We need to pass this to your streaming application, Spark Streaming, and then we need to convert it. So I'll cover this thing in 2 minutes, but what we are doing, that we are converting this incoming tweets into batches, multiple batches based on the time interval, and then we are, from these batches, we have these streams, and these streams will be stored as RDD, or resilient distributed data set, okay? Okay, Spark Streaming is fast, batch processing system. Spark Streaming collects stream data into small batches and runs process on them. Batch can be as small as 1 second and multiple hours, and these batches are nothing but these streams. I'm just covering one thing in different way. This is again in the visual form. So if we are performing any transformation on batch or on D stream or on RDD, it will create a new RDD. It will create a new RDD, because obviously behind this and everything is RDD, right? Perfect. So this is good. So now let me cover one more thing in detail. So we know one thing, and this is important. So we know one thing, that behind the scene everything is RDD, and RDD is nothing but the core abstraction of Spark. Spark can be Spark. When we want to use Spark, we have Spark session, right? And then we have Spark context, and then we have different kind of context, right? So it means if we want to use Spark as a processing framework for any other application, let's say into our case Spark Streaming, then we need to go through Spark session, or we need to go through Spark context, right? So to prove this point, and I'll write a code, but again, to use Spark Streaming application, we need to create a new context called Spark Streaming context. This Spark Streaming context behind the scene will either use Spark session or Spark context. So let's say if we want to go with Spark context, I will show you both examples. Let's say we want to go for Spark context. What we will say, use Spark context behind the scene, and then we need to say, see, again, we need to tell one more property when we talk about streaming application, on which it will create these streams. So what we'll say, create these streams based on these many seconds. So we create a new Spark streaming context based on Spark context and some property like on how many seconds or how many minutes or how many hours we need to create a new D streams. Okay, so this is how it works now. So we now know that to use streaming, we need to create a Spark streaming context, and to use the Spark streaming context, we need to use a Spark session or a Spark context. Okay, we know this thing now. Now let's see how word count program works, and you will find it very, very amazing. So let's say, in fact, let me write it down for you guys. Okay, let's write it down. Rather than going to theory, let's write it down. So I'm connecting to, so I have two applications. So this is my, in fact, let me close this for 2 minutes. Okay, so I have two terminals open. So on first terminal, what I'm doing, I'm connecting to Spark Shell, and good. And then I'm pasting it here, and I'm hitting enter. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm connected to the cluster. So it means I'm connected to this particular network Linux machine. Okay, on this Linux machine, I want to start my Spark Shell into local mode. So this is important. I want to start into local mode because these two sessions, this session IT401 and this session IT401 here should be on the same machine, this one and this one, right? So that's why I have started Spark in the local mode. Okay, so that my master will be here on the local. Okay, so my Spark has been created, like my Spark session has been created. So if I see here, I have a Spark context, right? So this is my Spark context, but do I have SSC? No, because SSC doesn't exist, right? So now what we need to do, SSC means Spark streaming context. So we need to create a Spark streaming context from SC first. So let's do here. So what we need to do, we need to import two things, right? So the first is import streaming thing, like import everything which is related to streaming. So what I did here, I import from org.apache.spark, import every functionality which is related to Spark streaming, right? And then this is the important thing, and I'll show you now. So what I'm saying here, that in fact, let me make it SSC. So SSC means Spark streaming context. You can give any name here. You can give any name here, but what this name is, this is your Spark streaming context. From this Spark streaming context, what I'm saying that guys, from this particular library, create the new object of streaming context, and inside that streaming context, use Spark context. This one, use this Spark context, and every 5 seconds, create a new D stream for me, right? So let's go here. So what it did, now see the most important thing, what it did, org.apache Spark stream context. So it created this streaming context, and obviously it is stored somewhere into the local memory or wherever it is, right? So now this is important again, and I'll explain it to you. Paste here, and let's say we want to go for localhost here. Localhost. Okay, so we want to go for localhost, and we can say any port here. I'm writing 6444. You can write 6666, any port. Okay, so what I'm telling that, okay, read any socket data which is produced into this particular socket. Socket means what? A combination of host and port. So what I'm telling Spark streaming application, that any data which is produced on this local host on this particular port, read it for me. And to read that data, we have one function which is socket text stream. It means read the text stream which is generated from this socket and assign that to this val. Okay, 1 second, because I've copy pasted it. So this was SSC, right? I'm not sure whether you guys remember word count program, but let me explain it to you, because then it will make sense to you. So what we do in word count program, so let's forget about Spark streaming. So we have one file. Inside this file, we have different words. Hi, how are you? What we were doing, we are reading this word into file, like what we are doing. Well, lines is equal to sc dot text file, right? We were doing that, and then we are doing the path of the file, this path, right? Once these lines are here, what we are saying, lines dot flat map, and then we are inside the flat map. What we are doing, we are splitting all the words based on x dot split based on space. So what we are doing, we are doing the flat map and we are storing into words, right? Well words, and then on these words, what we are doing, we are words dot map, and then we were doing something like this. We are creating a pair RDD. Onto this, we are then running reduce by key, right? We are doing something like this. I remember reduce by key, this, and then we are printing it. As simple, right? So now, as I was explaining you in last 30-45 minutes, that behind the scene everything is RDD. So this program should work as it is as soon as we have these streams or RDDs inserted or created for us by Spark Streaming. Okay, and that's what I'm doing here. So what we did here, we created one D stream. So one thing here, right? So when I wrote this line, well lines read sc.socket text stream, what it did for me, it didn't created the RDD, rather than it created the input D stream for me of string type, right? Now we know that behind the scene an RDD will be created every 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds of from this stream, these D streams, and RDD will be created. This is what this Spark streaming context is doing for us. And once the RDD is created, then we can play with these RDDs in the way we are playing with our batch applications. So now, even the same, sorry. So what we doing? What's going on? Sorry, guys. In fact, let me do one thing. I'll copy, paste here, Control C. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'll paste it here. So what I'm doing here, I have read this Spark streaming. Now, once Spark streaming has created these streams, everything is RDD. So now we can just copy paste our previous word count program here. So see the beauty here. So what we are doing here, from these lines, just split every word based on your space, create words from the lines. On each line, create the, from each line, create words, from each words, create your pair RDD. But one thing you guys can note here, it is not creating D stream, because still this Spark, okay, I'll explain it to you. Here we can clearly see that it is not creating RDD yet. It is just creating D stream when we are hitting some transformation, right? Now what we are doing, that just count the number of words of each key type, right? So we are doing reduce by key based on the word. So let's say your hello, hello, hello occurred 3 times, then just add reduced all the values based on the key. I'm not sure whether you guys remember, but something like this. So we have hello, hello, hello here. So what we did here, on basis of this space, we created hello, hello, hello in 3 lines. So this is what your flat map did, right? Then we hit map here and we said hello 1, hello 1, hello 1. So this is what the map did. On the map, we did the reduce by key. What reduce by key will be doing? It will take 2 same types of key and it will say hello. And since we use the plus operation, so what will it say? 1 plus 1, it will give us hello 2, right? And then it will use this one again. So this 2 has been processed, then it will use this word again. It will say hello. This one, like it will be 2 here, and this one will be here 1. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, and it will give us hello occurred 3 times. This is how it is working, right? Nothing very fancy. And we'll say reduce by key. What we want pairs to be printed now, printed on the console, right? We want the application, because this is the test application, I want to print it on the console. So this is done. Now, nothing is going on as of now. Nothing is processing because I haven't started my streaming application yet. I have wrote the application, but I haven't informed my driver yet that there's something called Spark Streaming. It needs to watch this particular local host, this particular port. My driver don't know how to tell driver that something needs to be run. What I'll say, ssc dot start. Once I do it, see it. What it's saying, that it is not able to listen to this particular port because obviously these are not errors, right? But before I rectify this error, what it is doing, it is trying to hit that local host on this particular port, and it is not finding application, so it is saying connection is refused. Let's go here, and what we'll doing, 6666, we will start application, and we will write hello, hello, hello. Now see here, it is start working for us. Why? Because I opened the port, so it is finding the port open, so that error is gone. Why? Because the connection has been established. So it occurred hello, hello, it counted it one time. Now let's do one more thing. So I'll write here, hello guys, hello girls, hello boys, let's learn how to say hello, right? And hit enter. So when I hit enter, what it will do for me, see now, hello one, hello, hello, hello. So it did for me, it created the number of words for me, right? So what it is doing, it is counting the number of words. So now one more thing, let's say, okay, so it is not counting the total number of words, but it is reading the number of words. I need to see the program, but what we can see here, maybe I did some mistake in my program. What we can see here, that it starts reading the words or the stream from the socket, and it start to print that into my console. Okay, and what it is doing, every 5 seconds, it is trying to create a new D stream and the new RDD behind the scene, and these are nothing but RDD operations, right? This is how Spark Streaming works. Okay, so today we have covered how to read the data from your socket, and then how to do it, how to create word count program. So word count program is nothing fancy. You just need to add this line into your to start the Spark streaming, right? You need to create the Spark streaming context using a Spark context, and then just write your previous word count program. It will work like a charm for you. Okay. So this is all for today, guys. So I found the mistake actually. So let's do one thing. Let's stop this quickly. Okay, so let's stop this and let's log in again. What I did, and I'll explain it to you, the mistake which I did here, I printed, so let me copy the password. Oh, it worked, right? So it could. So when I open this, right? So what I did here, I printed the pairs. Right? So let me do it quickly now. So I started with streaming application. I imported this. I created this Spark's context, Spark streaming context, which is reading in 5 seconds. Then I read the lines. using this, and I'm listening to port 666. Okay, and before that, let's do one thing. Let's stop this. And then from the lines, I'm creating words. And for the words, I'm using the splitic clause, using flat map. From the words, I'm creating pairs, right? And pairs are creating using map function, like using pair RDD of the string and int. From pairs, I am doing word count. And here where I did the mistake, I printed pairs rather than I should have printed wc.print, wc.print. Okay, so I did wc.print, it worked, and now ssc dot start again. Okay, so it is trying to go to this particular local host, and let's go here, start the local the socket on this particular host, and now let's find hello, hello, sorry, hello, hello, hello. And now see here, perfect, it worked. This time we write 3 times hello and 1 time with the wrong mistake, right? So it worked like it. Now when we see here, whenever we are hitting enter, it will say that okay, it is counting. Whenever we are hitting enter, it is creating a new discrete. By default, this is default behavior. So I'll say hello guys, hello girls, hello all. Let's learn Spark streaming, which uses Spark context, and hit enter now. So now see the magic. It worked for us, right? Hello and Spark is 2 times, hello is 3 times, and it worked for us. Okay, so this is how Spark streaming is working. There's so many things in Spark streaming, which we will be covering next lecture, but this is all for today, guys.